Well, hello, I'm Jerry McKee, and welcome to Prime Time. We've got an exciting show for you today, and you're going to be meeting a guy named Duke. No, it's not John Wayne, because it would be scary if we had John Wayne with us right now. But we got Duke coming in, and Duke is a man's been shot 16 times and stabbed, and I don't even know how he's even walking or surviving, but I tell you, he's still doing some amazing things today, and we're going to find out some of his adventures, what he can a little bit tell. He's going to be here via on the phone because we don't want to show his face or anything right now because you'll find out. And we'll tell you where to get the book at, and we'll be right back in just a couple minutes, right after this commercial.
Jewelry has the power to be this little thing that can make you feel unique. Being a true gentleman never goes out of fashion. People will stare. Make it worth their while. For the woman of your dreams and the jewelry of her dreams, rings, pins, and pendants. Fabulous rubies, sparkling sapphires, brilliant diamonds. Keepsake Jewelers. We are the jewelers who understands what dreams are made of. Dreams of gold, dreams of emeralds, and dreams of diamonds in pins, rings, bracelets, and earrings. At Keepsake Jewelers, we have whatever it takes to make her dreams come true. Visit our new location, Keepsake Jewelers, 441 North Duncan Bypass, Suite 5, Union, 864-427-5100, 864-427-5100, Keepsake Jewelers, Union.
Okay, we're back, and we got click. All right, we told you we'd be coming back, and after this commercial, thanks to Keepsake Jewelers. And Duke, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Feel good.
Well,
Hanging out at the house.
the feel good part is, that's a kind of a man. I don't know how you could feel good with all what happened to you. And we're talking about the book that's out at 16 Bullets, a true story of a man who has been shot 16 times and still alive to tell about it because he's live with us tonight. And we'll tell you where you can get this book. Of course, go to Amazon. You can get it there. And several others. All you got to do is Google it, and it'll come up several different places, and you can purchase it there. And believe me, it's a good read if you like a thriller. And we're talking about a true thriller. Now, Duke, I met you parachuting and jumping out of planes, and I think you said it was 655 jumps. How many jumps?
No, 6,347, I believe what it was.
Yeah, and we was talking about your chute not opening when I saw you, and everybody was looking, said, "Wow, is he falling behind them trees?" But you really wasn't. You cut it away, and when I talked to you, you just like calm. It's like it's just everyday thing. And I think
that was I think that was like the seventh time I've had to use my reserve out of 6,000 something jumps.
Well, that's not bad. As long as
it was just a bad pack job on my part.
Well, it's not as long as you have that good reserve, right?
That's right. Yeah. You count on your rigger for that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the first time that you got shot, and and I can imagine. I think you were 18 years old, and hanging out with your friends.
I actually played in a little rock and roll band, and we'd been practicing, and just kind of got tired and got done and went out. We actually went outside, and I was laying against the car, and I actually smoked back then. I have to admit that, but I was standing there smoking a cigarette, and Ricky, the drummer, was standing there, and his brother Dennis came out and had a pistol in his hand. I think it was Grandpa's old pistol or something. It was kind of like Ricky just said, "Let me see that," and he never never checked it, nothing. Just pointed at me and said, "Look here, Ellie!" Bam, shot me in the side. So
oh goodness!
That was first. That was first of many more to come.
Now, were you kind of into the bodybuilding even back then?
No, not really. I mean, I worked out some, but I wasn't really bodybuilding at that time. I was just
Right, and what amazes me, y'all was more afraid of getting in trouble for shooting the gun than anything, correct?
Oh yeah. It was, back then there wasn't no rescue squad or nothing, so we just piled up in old. I can't remember what kind of car it was now, and took off to the hospital, and I got to feeling around on it, and I thought I could feel the tip of the bullet. And I asked one of the boys to give me a pocket knife, and I messed around and dug it out of my side and throwed it and hit the guy that shot me upside the head. And then we went by the drugstore and got some Thiolate and some bandages and patched it up and went on to the bar where we was going.
That, to me, that's amazing stuff. It's just like, oh, well, I'm shot here. We don't go to the hospital to be calling the police, or they'd be investigating and be calling our parents and all this right here. Let me get my knife out. We'll dig this out.
That's right. And that sounds crazy. That sounds like some kind of hero crap, but it was just kids being kids back then, Like,
well, you didn't think nothing.
Trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, you didn't think nothing about it, did you? Back then, different times. But now, what got you wanting to go into the Army?
Kind of like I was working laying brick even back then, and my older brother, he's passed away now, but he'd already been in the Army, been in the Army, came back, and I was just kind of working, but not really, didn't have much direction in my life. So he kept telling me, "Oh, go in the Army." So
no.
That very day, I went and joined up.
So now you spent 8 years, I believe, in service, correct?
Yeah.
And now, was you, my understanding, you was in the Special Forces?
Well, I ended up in the Special Forces unit. Yeah.
Mm.
And,
now, when you're,
of course, if you listen to people, everybody that was in the Army was in the Special Forces.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everybody in the Navy was a SEAL.
Yeah,
regular old grunts don't exist.
Yeah, I talked to a guy that says he's a full-fledged colonel, but he only spent 2 years in service.
Yeah, he moved up ranks in a hurry, and then didn't
he went real quick.
Yeah, I guarantee you, he was real fast.
Now you got your basic training over, you got all this training, and what was your MO or MIO?
MOS?
Yes, MOS. I'm sorry.
MOS, yeah. Well, actually, back then, MOS was you was pretty much 11 Bravo, and then you went, and then you went on to selection. I went to Special Forces and stuff. Now there's actually a MOS for Special Forces called the 18 series, and they have different numbers for different jobs with the 18 series, like a 18 Delta as a medic, and it's different ones like that,
Yeah. What was your favorite weapon of choice in service?
Really, for the pistol is 1911, and always it still is my favorite pistol is 1911. I'm probably the most anti-Glock person you ever meet, but not to say that they're not accurate and reliable weapons. I just don't like them personally.
Right. Now,
and I like M4.
When you
that's pretty.
When they first give you some orders to go to Vietnam, kind of what was your thoughts then? Did you have any thoughts then, or it was like you probably heard stories or whatever like that, but to experience it, was it? Were you nervous or anxious or?
Well, I was really. See, I was actually already in Germany at the time, and we'd been training, and I actually was chomping at the bits to go.
No, okay.
I guess because I felt like my brother had went, and I knew a lot of people, almost everybody in the small town that I lived in had got drafted and went to Nam, So. felt like I needed to do mine too, you know.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't there very long before I got shot all the hell, but
Yeah, that's what was coming up to you on, and now I would freak out just by being where you was at. Now you took a second bullet, and that was in Vietnam, and if I'm not mistaken, was that in your kneecap?
yeah, it's on my kneecap. Matter of fact, I've been trying to VA forever, and they're supposed to finally get me an appointment. It's the bullet's still under my kneecap, and it pops out sometime, and it locks my knee up.
Wow.
Matter of fact, it popped out last night. Me and my girlfriend both couldn't get it pushed back under her. It took a while, but yeah, I definitely got to get it out because it locks my leg up. As
Now,
soon as I get it pushed back under her, it's like instant relief.
now tell us a little bit about how you got shot and what you had to do for about all night long, hiding out, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, building up to it was a pretty hairy experience, especially for a kid. You know, I had, and we was in an area that was supposed to be pretty clean and no contact and all that. We was just kind of chilling, and we was up on a hill just cleaning weapons and just relaxing a little bit. And I had to go down off the hill and take care of some business. And while I was there, I spotted a goose slipping through the jungle. It was drizzling rain. I wiped my eyes several times trying to make him disappear, but he never would. So I finally realized it was real. And it was kind of a situation where I knew I couldn't shoot him because I knew he was a FO for a bigger unit. Obviously, he wouldn't have been out there by himself, and he was headed straight for my guys up on the hill. And they'd have been setting ducks if he'd eased up on them. So,
So this must have been
anyway, got up on.
this must have been no enemy there. It's supposed to be kind of a quiet,
Yeah, it's
restful.
supposed to. It wasn't really supposed to be according to the spokes. It's supposed to. We got our info from. It wasn't very reliable, obviously. So,
Now,
but anyway, I kind of eased up through the woods and pretty bad. Well, I actually went to cut his throat, and he had his AK slung on his across his shoulder, and I got my knife hung in his sling. And then he jerked his head back. He was actually an MBA. Jerked his head back and broke two of my teeth off, busted my nose. And if you've ever been hit in the nose, you know, your eyes get to watering and you kind of
oh yes.
lose your perspective there for a minute. But it was one of them deals I couldn't. If I did, somehow or another he got his. And, thinking back on it, it was a terrible situation. But if I think back on it, if it'd been something somebody would have videoed, it'd probably been kind of comical. He actually had his over his shoulder, had his bayonet sticking in my chin. Basically, it was grinding under my teeth,
Wow.
and I was trying to keep his finger off. I was trying to keep his finger off the trigger and trying to get my knife out of the sling where I could hopefully finish him. And it was all out battle there for a while, and finally I got it took care of. Didn't really know how much blood was his and how much was mine.
So
Then,
he saw you and kind of pulled the trigger on and hit you in the leg, or was that during the struggle?
No. I didn't get shot. He never got his thing on the trigger. I got him done with. And,
Okay.
then I took off. I left him laying there and took off the hill to let the team know that what had just happened. Of course, I wasn't a senior guy, obviously, so the team leader, he don't realize till I got, he's berating me and giving me a hard time because I was gone long when I should have been. And then he sees I'm covered in blood, and then he starts listening to me. And I told him there's obviously a larger unit somewhere in the area, and it wasn't just a little bit bullets started flying, and we got in a pretty bad firefight with a reasonably sized NBA unit. And anyway, I was pretty much out of ammo. I was actually running down the creek, and like I say, some of the book is not exactly the way it happened. The author, I met with him many times, and, gave him information. But, when somebody's writing something secondhand, they get the gist of it, but they don't get it exactly
right
the way it happened. I was actually running down the creek, shooting with my 45 when a bullet hit me in the knee. It felt like somebody hit me with an axe and cut me a flip. And so I wasn't really too much mobile then, and we was trying to clear out. And I found I guess you'd call it kind of a hole up under some roots and stuff, a little big tree in the creek, got up in it, got up under it. Barely got my face up out of the water where I could breathe, but I was stuck up in there. And I'm severely claustrophobic to this day on account of it. I probably stayed in there about 7 hours, and bugs all over me, biting me, and whatever kind of vomit you could think of.
Now the Vietnamese, they were camping right nearby you, wasn't it? They didn't leave like you thought they was going to do, right?
No, they didn't. They asked around, and I don't really know for how long, but it finally got to the point where I didn't care if it was 10,000 up there. I was coming out of that damn hole.
After 7 hours in it, I can imagine
yeah.
7 hours in it.
So when I finally come out, I was pretty much alone. And,
now, did your unit kind of wait on you, or you caught up with them, or?
No, they, and the reason we didn't really have an extraction plan because we wasn't really that far out from base camp, so they'd made it back to base camp, and I was, like I said, as bad as I hate to admit it, that was one of my shortcomings was reading a map. I wasn't real keen on the maps at that point, and but I did know a certain hill and which way I needed to go. So I did find my way back. Took me a while to get there, walking on a bad leg that was swelled up and couldn't hardly put it on the ground. And plus, out of ammo, didn't want to run up on no enemy on the way there,
Man, you're in a bad predicament.
Yeah, pretty bad situation for sure.
Now, we're going to look at well, you got shot again, but it wasn't in Vietnam. It was like the mid '70s, and you're still a young man in your 20s, I think, fresh from Vietnam, fully recovered from all your injuries, and you went to work as a bouncer. Was it?
Yeah, actually, I was a bouncer in a club for a while. Yeah, and had and usually it was pretty much uneventful. You might have to throw a drunk out here and there or something like that.
Well, you were working in one, and then someone else asked you to come to work for them, and which was you've been having more trouble than anything in that one. So you kind of left one that you just threw drunks out to a pretty bad bar.
Yeah, and I throw this. I don't think he was Cuban, maybe, and I scuffed him up pretty bad, and he decided to come back and retaliate. So he come out with a gun, and I still thought I could get to him before he shot me, but I was wrong. One of my buddies jumped on him and choked him to death before they pulled him off of him.
So he kind of he did. My understanding just by reading the book that he left and come back he came kind of like in a side door or back door.
Yeah. That's what he done. Yeah, he kind of slipped down a door that wasn't normally supposed to be used, but somebody had triggered the latch on it where you could go out it, but you wasn't supposed to be able to come back in it. So I was really looking for him to come in the front door, and he kind of slipped in a different way. And like I say, some of that stuff in the book is not exactly the way it happened, but it's pretty close,
Right. Now, I got a question for you. How does a person? I know that you're out of service, and definitely you got some medals and things from your experience in Vietnam. And how does a person kind of approach a person that wants to become a mercenary? I mean, how would you approach with that, if you can tell that?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're going to be a mercenary, you got to have some serious credentials and qualifications, And it's a pretty small knit group, You have, of course, you have your contract companies like Blackwater, which used to be Blackwater, and then they got a bunch of trouble in Iraq and changed their name about 3 or 4 times. They actually known as Academy now, and they actually merged with Triple Canopy, which was another contract company. But and a lot of people, they get their feet in the door through doing some of that, which I did. And just knowing a lot of people and meeting a lot of people while I was in the military got me hooked up in it. And I did that for several years after I got out. And I kept getting calls on and kind of started doing just light stuff here and there. And it kept building to pretty dangerous missions and operations. And I guess it got my blood, and I didn't know how to say no.
Yeah,
Even though there's a lot of times I wished I had.
Yeah, no, I bet so. I was just reading some of your book, and now when they hired you, as far as a contract as a mercenary like that, is this a government paid thing, or is it kind of private? If you can say.
It's both. Pretty much all the contract companies, they pretty much go through the State Department. And if you work for them, you got to go through all kind of background checks with the State Department, and got to get a security clearance. And a lot of times it takes, and it's kind of a catch-22 for some people, because you don't have a security clearance, you can't get one unless you've got a job with a company, but you can't get a job with a company without a security clearance. It's
Well,
kind of one of them deals. You got to know somebody sometimes.
So you kind of.
But the mercenary side, I called what I did was more on the dark side. It was a kind of under the radar, under the wire type stuff. I worked for our government. I worked for a lot of other governments, Central America, South America. Just and mercenary work. You basically going where the money is. But I did feel like that I didn't, because a lot of guys I worked with, they didn't care who they was killing or what for. They was just getting paid, and I always felt like I had to justify in my head that I was doing something good,
Right.
even though maybe sometimes I wasn't. But
Now, I don't know if you can tell me now. What was the pay? I know it depends probably on the job or something like that. But what was kind of just ballpark? Just it don't have to be exactly nothing like it, but I always.
Yeah, that's another thing that varied. I mean, they was some jobs, didn't pay worth crap. Those jobs I went for 10 days and maybe make $5,000 or something, and then there's other jobs I'd make. One particular job I made over $100,000 cash for 3 days work, but that was one of the times I got shot all hell.
Yeah, I read.
A lot of times, the more danger, the more money.
Right, I kind of read that when you negotiated the the money, and the guy had to go out and kind of call his boss, I guess, to get approval.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, you had some sniper experience, correct?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I don't really consider myself a sniper, but I've done some sniper work. I I never done stuff that, 1,000, 2,000 yards, about 500-600 yards, about as far as I've shot. And I still shoot a good bit. I've actually got a 550-yard shooting range built behind my house.
Wow.
And it was because I had to do a lot of training and stuff when I was doing that all the time, so I needed a place to train. And what better place than in your backyard?
Well, you can design it yourself, can't you?
That's right. Yeah.
No, you got a fourth bullet that came in a meeting that went real bad. Can you tell me just a little bit about that? I think you had your 357 instead of taking your other weapon out of I think it was a rented vehicle you had.
Oh yeah. I had a little meeting. And I still really never did know exactly what happened with that deal. But you can't trust nobody in that business most of the time. There's a handful of people that you can trust, but some of them you can't. And actually, I walked up on this guy, which was a mistake on my part, even going to a meeting like that at night in a densely populated place and stuff. But you get thinking you can't be stopped, I guess. So anyway, by the time I walk out, and I had that revolver, which is usually something I never carry, but sometimes it's better to have something that don't leave no shells behind, So anyway, I had it in my back of my breeches, and this guy come at me with a it was actually a box cutter. I mean, it was so quick. Oh, he cut me down across the face and the chest, and went through my pocket on my breeches and cut my leg. And I got a hold of his hand with my left hand to try to get my gun out of my back belt. And by the time I reached for my gun, another guy came out from somewhere, and I didn't even know he was there. And he had a gun in his hand, and I grabbed it with my right hand. So now I got both hands tied up, and we all went to the ground, scrambling. And somehow or another, the pistol was against my left bicep, and it went off. Well, he pulled the trigger, obviously. When I was kicking and doing whatever I could to get him off of me, and get something going on, and I did. And made it back to the car, and they was obvious idiots. They walking toward the car, both shooting toward the car, putting holes all in the car, but they didn't realize I had a AR-15 in the front seat and in the passenger seat. So I come up over the top of the car and made headshots on both of them. So that was
so they were just
not something great.
Steady firing at you, and you kind of behind your rental car.
Oh yeah. And I just raised up. And I don't know where they thought I was. Well, but they knew I didn't have my gun because I dropped it, my pistol.
Oh, so
I guess they thought they didn't realize I had another weapon in the car.
So they thought, well, he don't have a weapon. Let's just go and do it. Now, you had a rental car. Now, what in the world I wonder what the rental place would say if you would have brought that in. Now you were shot, or you were cut, wasn't you?
Yeah, both.
And so you drove you drive yourself to a nurse friend of yours, a nurse practitioner.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. She was actually at one time my daughter and her were married to brothers, so she pretty much looked after me a good bit. And because if you go to the doctor with a gunshot wound, they're supposed to call the cops. So she never did or never would, so that was good on my part.
Right. And how many stitches did you have to have? Do you remember?
Well, that one in my arm, it wasn't, but I don't know. She put 3 or 4 or 5 stitches in it. Of course, I remember talking about how my skin was like leather, I guess, because I've been out in the sun all my life and everything. She was about bending the needle while she was trying to sew me up.
That's a tough skin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is really.
And so she got you all fixed up. And now back to the rental car. What happened with it?
They've been so many different situations. It's hard to remember. I know one of them got burnt.
Yeah, I think this one
That I used one time.
was the one that I don't think. Of course, you didn't have it in your name. It was in somebody else's.
Yeah.
What do you call the operators? Is that what you call them? Originator.
Originator. That's what the author decided to call them. But hell, I never really called them nothing but the guy that's setting it up.
So what I read a little bit is that he took care of it, and I think it filed stolen and just kind of burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, that's the way it usually worked out. Yeah, burn up all the evidence.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, we're going to come back after this. I've got to get my sponsor in there. I got so excited listening to everything. I went past his time schedule. But let me play the sponsor. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking more to Duke.
Jewelry has the power to be this little thing that can make you feel unique. Being a true gentleman never goes out of fashion. People will stare.
Now, you said if I looked that thing up somewhere, you could see. I mean, did people put comments or reviews or anything on there?
Clear, good.
No, what's that now? I'm sorry. My wife came in at the same time. Now, what'd you say, Duke?
It's what now?
My wife came in at the same time you was asking me something.
Oh, okay.
What was
No,
that?
I was just asking, like, does people put comments and stuff on there on them things when you do them, or?
Yeah, usually what happens is that they'll put some comments in between there, and then as the day goes on, because they look at it at different times, and then it'll start growing in and people watching and looking at it, and then they'll put a comment or something like that in there.
Oh, okay.
Now you took hey, we're back already. Wow, that was quick. That was a quick commercial. All right.
Yeah.
And we're talking to Duke, and we're going to get him back on here. And now I'm looking at this other one when you took your bullets 5 and 6. How did that? How did that come about? I mean, I know that you were, I think even Secret Service and stuff were let their guard down and causing that.
Yeah, I was actually I was like 5 miles from my house when that happened.
Just 5 miles from your house?
Yeah. I just had got back from Bogota, Colombia, South America. I kind of feel like I might have got set up a little bit, but it was on like a February night, cold, 7 o'clock at night. I was headed to the next town here to get a bite to eat. Crown Vic pulled up behind me pretty hard with blacked out windows. I thought it was a unmarked state trooper. So when I got the 4 lane, I just eased over where he could come on by. And when he got beside me, glass hit me in the face, and this guy hanging out the window with a M16 steady putting blade inside my car.
Wow.
Blew most of the windows out. And I mean, and for some reason, you just don't think, but the car I was in was pretty fast. I should have kicked it, but instead, just instinct, I hit the brake. So I hit the brake, they hit the brake. Still, by the time I got stopped, I was, most all the windows were blowed out. There was, I think, 13 holes in the door, and they were gone. And I only got, I got hit in the side once in my leg. come through the door, which probably helped a lot.
Now, was this your Ford Granada that you was in?
No, this was actually a Mustang, my own personal Mustang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And of course, I made jokes. People that seen the car, seen all the bullet holes, they want to know how this got hit twice. I made a joke. I said, I told him, I figured out a 200-pound man will fit in a floorboard of a Mustang. Hell, I didn't. My gun was in the console. I didn't have time to do nothing. Time I got my gun out, it was over. They were gone.
Did you ever find out what it was? What was it about?
Oh yeah. It was a setup pretty much. It come out of. I mean, I'm sure these guys didn't come from Bogota, but I'm sure they was paid hitters probably out of Atlanta or Charlotte or somewhere probably. But it all got took care of later on. I think a lot of people end up dead on account of that one.
Wow. Yeah, 'cause that was real close to home, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Too close.
You think maybe they had?
I was worried about my family, and then I was starting to worry about my family, my kids, and stuff like that.
You think maybe they staked you out or something, or just kind of?
Oh yeah. They was actually. I found out later that one of my neighbors, his mama lived across the road from me. Of course, she just died at 104.
Wow.
This year, but the car had backed up over next to her driveway, and he tells me after the fact he seen a car backed up over and didn't pay it no attention. So, next time, tell me ahead of time, please.
Well, he probably didn't think anything about it.
No.
And it's just wow, it's amazing that you survived that one.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the M16 firing bullets at you. That's.
Mm.
No.
Oh yeah.
Now, at one point, you retired from being the mercenary work, and then somebody come knocking at your door again.
Yeah. I quit quite a few times, or said I quit anyway.
Now, one of the chapters in here, and people, if you get this book, it's called. You see it on the screen there. It's 16 bullets, and you'll see some pictures in there that's got some graphic holes and stuff in somebody's body, which is a Duke here, and so you'll see some of the actual pictures of what happened there. Now, you were if I read this right correctly, they asked you to go on a mission after you said you retired again, and I think it might have been in Colombia, or it might have been, you named a place that I think was a drug factory or something like that you was going to.
Yeah, and a lot of, like I say, a lot of obviously names and locations have been changed in the book for obvious reasons. So
right.
But,
I kind of figure some of them.
But some of it is pretty easy to figure out,
Right. Tell us a little bit about that mission there, because I think that you had that was a very scary. Well, all of them scary to me. It would be, but it seemed like this one was a little bit more different than what you used to going to, or it might be the same, but it seemed like it might have been a little different because they was wanting you pretty bad to join the team.
I'm trying to recall which one it is. We've done several operations like that. So.
Right. The one in the book was talking more of I don't know if it was a meth operation. There's a few of you that went in to kind of clean up and get out, and I think he even set to blow the place up completely.
Well, yeah, we did do that. Yeah, that was one where I'm thinking. Seemed like I don't even think I got shot on that one. There was a lot of them I didn't get shot on.
Well, that's good. That
Yeah, I didn't get shot every time I went out.
Well, I know you said on your ninth bullet that this was going to be the last one. that,
Yeah, that's right.
that didn't happen. The ninth one wasn't the last
No,
one.
no.
And
Yeah, I'd be laid up somewhere thinking I was done, and then the time I get healed up, get a call, I'd be ready to go back. And I
and
still get calls.
wow.
Yeah, I got a call just 2 weeks ago. They're putting a team together to go to Libya, but
Well, I'll tell you
I
what,
had to.
you're for being shot so many times and cut and all this right here. When I met you in person, man, you're built. I mean, you're like a tank.
you, you got to stay in kind of pretty decent shape to do that kind of work for sure.
Yeah, and you had a guy named Frog. Was that his name, or just?
Yeah, that was a nickname. Everybody has nicknames in business. Most times people don't even know your real name. You just have a nickname, and that's what you go with. That's why I tell when people ask me if I know somebody that they thought was in the business, I asked them what their nickname was. Because like I say, a lot of times I would never know their real name.
So everybody, what was your nickname, or can you say?
Well, normally it was Shooter. That's what everybody called me, which was long before the movie Shooter. And that's usually what I heard on the other end of the phone. If I knew somebody was calling me about a hop, that's the first word I would hear is Shooter, and I knew that's what it was about.
Now you had some run-ins, and people knows the cartel, uh, and uh, your team has. It seemed like one that jumped in the back of a truck, and I mean, you had
No, it was.
so much stuff going on right there. I think Frog was with you on this one right here, and you went in the SUV, and the cartel started
Oh yeah.
uh, shooting, and
Yeah. That was the time I got hit in the neck and didn't know it. The only time I got shot that I didn't realize I was hit.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you not realize you hit? I guess adrenaline. Uh,
Well, yeah, you got so much going on. You firing and trying to get out. Uh, Run off in the ditch, about got stuck, trying to get the hell out. And I'm raising Cain, telling him to get us out of there. And then we was pretty much out back on the main road and in the clear when he looked over at me and said, "You hit, don't you?" And I looked down and the blood everywhere.
yeah, I think it penetrated your right side of your back, went and exited out under your arm.
No, this one hit me in the neck.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like the bullet was actually lodged right next to my main artery, and it got infected bad because it took a while to get somebody to get it out.
My goodness. I guess your nurse practitioner wasn't nearby, was she? And,
No.
and,
Yeah, she wasn't available then.
what amazes me,
That other one.
go ahead.
Go
Go ahead.
That other one you were talking about, I think, was when I got hit with a rifle. Well, me and Prague was on a little op picking up something, and there was a sniper shooting and hit Prague in the neck and hit me in the back.
Right, that's the one I was
kind of back in the back and the side. Yeah, that. Yeah, I figured he was dead, and luckily he wasn't, because all I heard was a smack, and then I heard the report of the rifle, but luckily it just didn't get in deep on him, and we got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I said he kind of wrapped you up in about like 3 bandages there, and kind of helped stop and the exit wounds there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
that's right.
amazes me is that you haven't none of these bullets that hit any major organs.
Yeah, I mean that is, because it's just a matter of inches of being alive and being dead. It's like when I got shot in the chest with that 45. I got shot in the face and the chest, and the only reason the 45 in the face didn't kill me in the chest didn't kill me because the guy was already down when he shot, and it was going up. It just clipped top of my lung and went and came out high on my back.
Yeah, it's just amazing getting shot in the chest with a 45 at that, and
Yeah, it still knocked me down like it hit me with a sledgehammer. That's what I tell people all the time. My caliber and my weapon is 1911 45. Because I tell people I've seen people shot with them. I've shot people with them. I've been shot with them, but they will put you down.
My goodness. Now looking at your number, I think your 10th bullet was in the way that you envisioned it. I think you and Frog again was in looking at about a trailer a couple miles out with binoculars and.
Yeah, that's the one where I got hit in the neck. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, they kind of run.
Yeah, that's the one I got hit in the neck with. Actually, yeah, and that was actually they were shooting shotguns with buckshot in them, and a ball came through the band and hit my neck.
Oh, so they had
went in my neck.
So they were shooting with a shotgun.
Yeah, a shotgun with double buckshot, and that's what I pulled out of my neck, or what the doctor pulled out of my neck.
Man, I think I'd rather have an M16 or something like that than I would a shotgun.
yeah, shotguns can mess you up for sure.
Yeah, but
in close range.
Yeah, you got to be a little close.
I prefer
close range. And looking at you have some unique missions with all types of actions and types. And I know you've seen another negotiating 10 days for 10 grand. No money for mileage, no bonus, no clear details.
Yeah.
So you was bored and then said, "Well, y'all go on this one too."
Yeah.
So what your girlfriend got to do is not let you get bored.
Yeah. Well, what now?
I said your girlfriend cannot let you get bored, or you be going on another mission.
Well, yeah. Oh. Yeah, she put her foot down when I got that call about Libya. She said, "You ain't going to Libya." I said, "I don't want to go nowhere, babe."
And
yes.
Now, and this one right here said was talking about is like chapter 12 here with these unique missions, and sometimes these unique missions can really be more dangerous than the one that's particularly more planned out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now one of the times I got hurt probably just the most and had more cuts and hurt was when we got shot down in the helicopter.
Did a helicopter crash?
Oh yeah, we crashed. And the only reason it didn't kill everybody aboard was we went down on the side of a mountain in the jungle, and luckily I only lost one guy. But I was actually impaled through my leg. When I come to, there was blood dripping in my face. I mean, my face was covered in blood, and there was fuel dripping in my face. I didn't know where it was coming from. I could taste the fuel and the blood. My leg was broke. There was a piece of steel run all the way through my leg, sticking out of my leg.
Wow.
My other leg was cut from my ankle to my knee. My arm was gashed open from my elbow to my wrist. I had cuts on my back, cuts on my chest. There was 19 places I was bandaging in after I got out of the hospital. But they was trying to pull me out, and and I was kind of, I was pretty much pinned in there. And I finally said, something's hung on my leg, and then shined the light, and I seen that piece of metal sticking through my leg, so I had to pull my leg off a bit. That was not fun. And the way it bled, I was scared it had done. It wasn't frozen the main artery in my leg, and luckily it wasn't, because the doctor said if it had been, I wouldn't last 2 minutes, you know. And I don't even think they had I don't think they had a backup plan, because we went down right at daylight and it was almost dark again before they got another slick in there to get us out.
Now, did you have any missions in the U.S.?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll take that.
Pretty
Okay,
much all I can say on that one.
all right. Now, as you get through this book, and people, you need to order this book and read it, and you will really get even more details than we're talking about for a little short time and all. Now, your gunshot wounds added up as you took bullets 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. You took all those at one time?
The last 6, yeah. Yeah, it was a machine gun. And then we was actually, I was at the corner of a building shooting in one direction. There was another small building kind of behind me and to the right that I obviously didn't pay attention to. And the guy had a clean shot at me, and he pretty much put 3 in my leg, 3 up my side. And luckily one of my guys popped him before he could finish me. And it was crazy because I remember pushing away as I was falling, thinking there was a big dog jumped up on me or something. But, you know, just for a few seconds, and then I realized it was bullets hitting me. And
that had to
kind
be
of funny.
that had to be one big mad dog.
Yeah, for sure. But and I was in red dirt when I hit. When I hit the ground, I kind of you think crazy stuff, you know, when you in certain situations. I remember thinking when I was coughing up blood in that dust and dirt, and I remember thinking, in the movies, if you fall down a set of stairs or cough up blood, you're gonna die. You know, so that was what was going through my mind.
Man,
but then the dust off couldn't land inside the compound where we was. He landed outside the fence where we had cut going in, and they was kind of halfway dragging, halfway carrying me back to the chopper, and they got me hung up on the fence and cut me up pretty bad just going through the fence. When I was actually in the hospital in San Antonio, and one of the guys on the team came in. I'm like, what the hell happened to my arm and my and I realized then they told me they drug me through the fence. Actually got me hung up on the fence. Had to push me back through and then come back out again.
My goodness! Now
they was,
amazing. How did you, just from the pain? I don't know. Did the adrenaline going so fast in your body and stuff that kind of eased the pain, or did you start feeling that afterwards?
Yeah, it's kind of seems like, you know, people always ask what it feels like to get shot, you know, and stuff. But I mean, to tell you the truth, it seems different every time. But you know, everybody seems like in the movies and stuff, they always say how bad it burns. But realistically, the only one that I felt that burnt a lot was the one that was so close to where I got powder burns off of it, you know.
Right.
Most of it just felt the blast, and then it kind of went numb, and then when the nerve endings start repairing, which ain't very long, that's when the pain starts, you know.
Right. Now, you had some broken bones with this last shooting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it pretty much shattered my femur when them 3 hit my leg.
Oh.
And,
now,
yeah, like I said, I'm amazed I can still walk, much less still jump out of planes and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. You still jumping out of planes even with all that going on. Now, when you was in the hospital at San Antonio, you was in there for like 4 weeks?
Well, I had to stay in town because I had some vein tubes and stuff like that. I went in the hospital actually that whole time, but I had to stay around and have the follow-ups and stuff like that, get the drain tubes pulled out and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I know all the bars on the Riverwalk.
That helped with the pain there, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Now, did in the hospital, did any of the nurses or doctors ask what happened or anything?
Well, they pretty much knew not to. That's actually a Army Medical Center out there where I was at. So,
oh, okay.
There's a lot of guys coming around wanting to, that was curious. They'd heard about a guy that was in there that'd been shot 6 times, and then what was crazy, when I got out of the hospital and I was headed back home, I was on crutches and everything, and I had to fly through Nashville for some reason. Yeah. And there was a lady on the plane with her daughter, and she was going to St. Jude's Hospital with her daughter, and she had a cancer. So she was kind of in remission, but she's going for a checkup with her cancer, and the woman said, well, she was sitting there reading a book when I sat down. I was on crutches. I think she wasn't really paying attention. About halfway through the flight, she looked up and said, "Oh my God!" I said, "What?" She said, "My husband's a doctor at the Brook Army Medical Center, and he told me about a guy that come in there and been shot 6 times with tattoos all over him." I said, she said, "Was that you?" I said, "Maybe." I said, "But he wasn't supposed to be telling you all that." So anyway, it was kind of weird that what a coincidence, me be sitting on the plane with the doctor's wife that worked on me,
Yeah, kind of what happened to the HIPAA thing, right?
Yeah.
But, well, well, I bet you set off metal detectors when you go off, when you go in somewhere.
Oh, yeah, they had to pat me down every time.
Yeah, my wife had a hip replacement, and when she goes through these things, she just buzzes every which way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she got one of them steel hips in there. I thought, well, you're still hip anyway. Well, we're right up at the hour time. It went by very quickly. I even dodged a couple little sponsors thing there, but that's okay too, because it's just exciting. People, you need to get the book. It's called 16 Bullets, and it's got more than just the 16 bullets in there. You'll read about a lot of different other things that we didn't discuss, and I think you'll really enjoy the read. And so you can get it from Amazon or just Google 16 Bullets, and it comes up all over Google from different places you can order it from. And Duke, I really appreciate you being on with me and talking about your book and talking about your life there. I knew we had to, use a different name and not really show your face in a sense there that, and we understandable, very understandable.
Okay.
But I hope
right.
You still jumping out of planes, so be safe there. And it was great talking to you and great meeting you too.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate it.
And, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. We had some excitement today. We've got a lady coming next week. We will put about her book. And I'm Jeremy McKee with Prime Time. We'll see you next week. Take care.